Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 67 of Generation GC. Wow, oh my god, so many episodes. The Young and the Hopeless from The Young and the Hopeless, Good Charlotte's second album, released in 2002. My name's Molly Hudelson, once again, and as always, I'm your host, as well as the producer, creator, and editor of this show. My guest today is Give Me a Reason, a modern pop-punk band from Zurich, Switzerland, and I'm joined by Max Welti, the rhythm guitar and backing vocalist, and Giuli Luongo, the lead guitarist. Last week, we talked about Walk By from Good Charlotte, and next week, we'll be talking about a song from the Chronicles of Life and Death. After their debut album in summer 2019, Give Me a Reason decided to reshuffle the cards and approach the world in a new color. With new members, new music, and a new concept, the band flew to LA to record their EP Vice Versa with Blake Roses of Pastel Recording Company. If that name sounds a little familiar, it should. Blake has worked with bands such as State Champs, 5 Seconds of Summer, and Good Charlotte. He was the assistant engineer on Generation RX. With catchy melodies and modern elements, Give Me a Reason turn all bad vibes upside down and put you in a good mood. Vice Versa is out now, and you definitely need to check out the songs Sad and Funny, but honestly, just go listen to the whole thing. Now, if you're listening to this podcast on YouTube, you will not hear this, because YouTube copyright claims everything, but if you're listening anywhere else, then after this intro, you are going to hear Funny by Give Me a Reason. Wanted to say that Give Me a Reason is my first guest from Switzerland, and you all know how much I love having guests from all over the world and from all different backgrounds. If English isn't your first language, that's okay. As long as you're comfortable holding a conversation in English, you're good to go. And different backgrounds doesn't just mean location or ethnicity. That means ensuring a varied gender and sexuality representation, representing fans of different ages, fans with their own unique life experiences of any sort. I mean, if there's anything in your own life that you feel has affected who you are and how you relate to, connect with all things Good Charlotte, I want to hear about it. Reach out to me. I want to make sure that everyone listening to this show feels that they are represented. I also want to continue mentioning blacklivesmatters.card.co, antisemitism.card.co, and anti-asianviolenceresources.card.co as we continue educating ourselves and hopefully speaking up against everything going on in the world these days. Finally, Generation GC stickers are here. If you do want a sticker, there's 2 things you can do. Number 1, support the show on Anchor. Go to anchor.fm/generationgcpod and click support. Everything that comes into the show on Anchor goes right back into helping me make it the best that it can be. I know that there's been talk of a merch store, and I am starting to brainstorm for that. But yeah, everything on Anchor, it helps me do what I need to keep the show going. It helps me print and ship the stickers. It also helps me buy new headphones, buy a laptop stand, buy batteries for my wireless mouse, anything like that I needed. It helps me out with. Number 2, you can make a charitable donation. Go to blacklivesmatters.card.co. There's going to be a lot of great organizations listed there. Whatever you can afford to give, make a donation. And then you are going to send me a screenshot of either your support of the show on Anchor or your charitable donation, as well as your mailing address, and I will send you stickers. You can reach me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at GenerationGCPod, P-O-D, or you can email GenerationGCPod@gmail.com, and I will send you some stickers. Also, make sure you're just keeping up with the show on socials, because who knows, maybe I'll post some different giveaways, different ideas for how you can get stickers. Thank you all for tuning in, and now on to episode 67.
All right. Hey guys, I'm Giuli. I play lead guitar in Give Me a Reason, and my pronouns are he and him.
What's up? My name is Max. I play rhythm guitar in Give Me a Reason, and I do some backing vocals. And my pronouns are he, him.
Perfect. So, The Young and the Hopeless is the title track on The Young and the Hopeless, Good Charlotte's second album released in 2002. It's track 12, so you have track 11 is The Day That I Die. Oh, I like your sweatshirt, by the way. Listeners, Max is wearing an architect's sweatshirt, which is Very cool. So track 11 is The Day That I Die. Track 13 is Emotionless. This song was released as a single, but not for like a while after the album came out, like early 2004. Didn't really chart on the radio. It was written by Benji and Joel Madden. Setlist.fm has it ranked as number 5 of their most played songs with 245 plays. So like basically if you've seen Good Charlotte since this album came out, they've probably played this song. I also wanted to note that on the Youth Authority tour, so like 2016, 2017, they would play, at least in the US, I saw them a couple of times, they would play The Outfield, which kind of calls back to this song, and then go into The Young and the Hopeless, which was very cool. They also played it, I wanted to know, on The Late Show with David Letterman on May 5th, 2003. I mean, they've played this North America, Asia, Australia, New Zealand, all over Europe. Basically, wherever they've played this song. And we have a lot to talk about, but I want to help our listeners get to know you and give me a reason. So the first thing I like to ask everyone is, when did you first hear Good Charlotte and what were your first thoughts on them?
All right. So I think I first heard them, like, I don't know, 2008 might be a good year, like all the way back. And I think actually The Young and the Hopeless was the first song that I've heard.
Really?
And it really, like, I heard it the first time and was like, damn, I love this song. This is great. And ever since then, I think that never changed.
What about you, Max?
I think it's a funny story. I think the first time I heard Good Charlotte was I Just Want to Live. And I think it was actually a compilation CD that was owned by my sister of Germany's Next Top Model. Huh. But then properly I listened. I've heard The River by Good Charlotte with Shadows, and I fell in love with that song and fell in love with that band, and then searched for that album for Good Morning Revival, and been a fan ever since.
Amazing. Well, I also like to ask everyone, have you ever seen Good Charlotte live?
That's a good question. I think I didn't.
I did.
You did?
I must have seen him like definitely once, if not even twice, because I'm pretty sure they played the Greenfield Festival once, and I've been to that festival. That's a rock metal festival here in Switzerland, in Interlaken, and I've been to that festival 8 times in a row. So
wow.
I'm pretty sure they show up in the lineup somewhere. But I can't tell for sure.
So what music is popular in Switzerland? Are there any Swiss bands that are in this kind of genre, or are people more listening to like American bands usually?
It's more American bands, UK bands, Australian bands. I think the only band that is popular, might be well known, but goes more into the harder direction is Breakdown of Sanity. They're a metalcore, deathcore band. I don't know if you know them. But they have been mildly popular. But other than that, there's not much coming out of Switzerland that makes it too big. Maybe in like the classical rock genre, you have like bands like Gotthard, Kulkus. They do get around, but also not too much, to be honest.
Okay. So you guys put out an album in 2019, Bad Time Stories, and then after that, you went all the way to Los Angeles to work with Blake Roses of Pastel Recording Company. Listeners, Blake was the assistant engineer on Generation RX, but his other credits include 5 Seconds of Summer, State Champs, Sleeping with Sirens, Andy Black. I mean, a lot of bands that you probably also love. So what was it like working with Blake, And why go all the way to Los Angeles?
That's a good question. Well, actually, we for like the second part to Los Angeles is like, for us at least, like pop punk lives in California. It's the vibe. It's just like obviously the country. It's just like that's pop punk. So we knew, hey, just for us to like for songwriting, we need to get out there. We need to go somewhere different. So why not go to, like the spring? And then it was more of a, well, you could say coincidence that we started texting with Blake, and we were like, yeah, he was like, yeah, how about you come over? Let's discuss this. And then we met, and then like obviously this was before this whole COVID thing happened.
Sure.
So we just met, played around, and then we like started with something which would end up as our first single, Sad, and we just vibed. So yeah, we were like, okay, we got to work together.
Yeah. What did you think of Los Angeles as, I don't know how long you were there, but what did you think of Los Angeles just as like a city just to visit?
We've been there for 3 weeks. Well, actually, I was for 3 weeks, and the others for 4. And yeah, I mean, Los Angeles is great. It's just so different to what we're used to. It's also like so big. I would not used to like having traffic jams when just hopping into the car to visit a friend. But it was great, like seeing like all those, let's say, famous spots. We also like drove around, had a little bit of sightseeing, not too much though, unfortunately. So we have to come back. But overall, Los Angeles is awesome, and I think I can sort of speak for everybody if I say it's awesome. We love it, and we gotta go again.
Did you have something to say, Max?
Actually, I wasn't with the guys in LA. The story is that I was still in my old band at that point. I still had 2 shows to play. The old band broke up because 2 of the guys didn't want to go on anymore, and those were the main songwriters. So, but I was still with them. I officially joined Give Me a Reason in December. So December 19. So yeah, I've been to LA though once in 2010.
Oh, and, a long time ago.
Yeah, a long time. I loved it though. I remember I loved it. Yeah, I would love to go again, and I hope that the whole journey will bring us there more than once again.
Yeah. Well, most recently, Give Me a Reason put out this EP, Vice Versa, back in October. Why call it Vice Versa?
So basically, we were like sitting in our band room, and we were thinking about names, and we like wrote down ideas. And somehow we came up with like this whole upside down thing. And then we were talking about like okay, so upside down, doing something different, mix it up, and then we're like looking at ways to say this, but like not say it,
right?
If you know what I mean. And then we came up with Vice Versa, and we're like, man, that's interesting. Let's sleep over it. And the next day, I think we all were like, okay, yeah, let's do Vice Versa.
I feel like that ties into what I just really enjoy about the EP. Like you have lyrics that are really clever and pointed, and then some that are romantic and poetic. And then there's also a lot of stuff that's like just defiant and kind of trying to stand up for yourself. Were you in like a certain mood with the EP? Were you trying to get across like any certain kind of themes?
That's hard. It's hard to answer. Because
yeah.
I mean, for once, I haven't been there, and the main songwriting, especially when it comes to lyrics, is done by Mattia, our singer.
Sure, yeah.
And together with Blake, they wrote those songs together mostly. But I think they just wrote what was on their mind. They just wrote what they were going with.
Sure,
It's hard to say exactly. We would have to get Mattia on to get the accurate answer on that. Yeah.
I think the main theme was like basically what we did. Like, you want to get there, so you got to get out there and start to pursue your dreams. And I think that's like the underlying main theme.
Yeah.
Also, the reason why we went to LA and not went over meals with anyone. That's why the idea was to go to LA, to not wait that something comes to us or to text or whatever. No, we're gonna go there. We're pursuing what we want
initiative.
to do.
Take that initiative.
And that was that was the goal for 2022. But yeah, something came in the way.
Yeah, unfortunately. I wanted to ask also about the music video for Sad, which you filmed at the Super Candy Pop-Up Museum in Germany. It's a great video. It's very fun. You're causing like a lot of mayhem and destruction. So did you guys have to do all the cleanup after you were done filming, or did like a museum worker come and clean it all up?
That was all. The destruction was us, and the cleanup was us.
Oh my god!
Yeah, we kind of had to work a lot. It was actually a crazy day. We drove to Cologne, which is from Zurich, about 6-hour drive.
Oh wow!
We drove off at like 9-10 at night. Arrived there in the morning at like 2. Then we just checked out the location. Slept on the cold floor there for like 2-3 hours. And then started working at 5-6ish something. And when you can see, it's not only the sad video, also the funny video was shot there. And it was a crazy day. We shot it for 17 hours. We were shooting straight through. We had only like breaks. We ordered pizza, so we don't have to go anywhere. Like all that crazy stuff. We shot it right through. And then after like 17 hours and after cleaning up everything, we were so happy when we got through with everything. And then we drove straight back. Well, Darren and I, the drummer, and I, we actually went to London to do some more work. The others drove straight back to Zurich.
That is a hectic, intense schedule. I mean, and it reminds me of like the stories that I would hear Good Charlotte tell about, like, you know, the early days of their band when they would like drive, you know, have these crazy drives, shoot a video for all these hours, and then you drive back. And that's kind of like, it's kind of just what you have to do. Like, you have to put in this crazy amount of work and be dedicated. And then if you do it, it pays off.
It does. We got 2 amazing videos
for them.
Yeah, it was great. We had an amazing videographer, Mark from Stardust Visuals. He did all the work on the videos. He shot everything by himself, and cutting and editing after that. He's amazing. A magician. He's actually going to work on our next video, which we're going to shoot actually very soon. Amazing.
Well, I just wanted to ask real quick about Funny, because we're going to play that song. We're going to add that song into the episode. Can you just tell me like what inspired that song?
Julie, I think that's still, you've been there when they wrote that song. I think that's more an answer for you.
Yeah, well, Funny is actually a funny story. It's just like the going out of your way and like to not do what everybody else does, to get out of this 9-to-5 thing. It's just like a message from your heart to like, I really don't want this. I really want to don't do that. So that was basically what inspired the song.
I love that. And the last question that I want to ask, I think, well, I guess actually I have 2 questions that I want to ask before we go into The Young and the Hopeless. So first, what do you want listeners to get out of the Vice Versa EP?
said before, it's really the pursuing your dreams. Don't let anyone tell you what you have to do. Like, do what you want to do, not what anyone wants you to do, and do what makes you happy. That's the most important thing. That's what we're trying to do with all our heart, with all our energy, and we think everyone should do that. If it is a 9 to 5 that makes you happy, then do it. If it's not, then do what you want to do.
Definitely. I love that. And I just want to ask, I like asking every time I talk to a musician on this show, how has Good Charlotte influenced you as musicians?
Well, I think for one, they definitely like put us on the road. Like they like pretty early on, they set the course, I'd say. So like, at least for me, it was like when I was a child, I heard Good Charlotte for the first time, and then I was like, man, that's really good music. I want to do that. And yeah, here we are now.
Yeah, and I kind of I always loved their how you call it, the God, I'm missing a word. the outside, there you go, the outsider standard, but the like, we're the outsiders at school with all the sport guys, the jocks, and
Yeah.
they're the kind of emo punk outsider dudes, and but they do what they want to. They make their music and fuck everything else. No, sorry. Hope that swearing is not a problem.
Oh yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. Swearing is fine.
Yeah, love that, and that kind of, it spoke to me a lot, and still does.
Definitely. Yeah. And I think that ties into our song of discussion today, which is The Young and the Hopeless. So why did you guys want to talk about The Young and the Hopeless?
We love that song. It's that easy. It's a very popular song too. It's everyone knows The Young and the Hopeless, and yeah, we kind of also feel young and hopeless sometimes, to be honest.
Absolutely.
And it's that easy. It's a great song. I would have had multiple other songs that would speak to me too, but altogether we came to the conclusion that The Young and the Hopeless is a great song that we would love to talk about.
It really ties into, I think, kind of the themes of vice versa, just like wanting to pursue your own dreams, even if other people don't really believe in you. So I guess let's talk about what this song means. So what's your interpretation of what The Young and the Hopeless is about?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, like you said, it's kind of what we have with vice versa too. It's then feeling that everything that you want to do is wrong, because that's what other people make you feel like, because they want you to do some normal job, how they say, or real job, and that's what that's what we think it's about. That's how it makes us feel. It's how it speaks to us, and yeah.
It's also like it shows that you really want to pursue something, you really want to go for it, but all of your peers all just put you down, tell you to not do it, to like just give up, don't, just forget it, but you still do it. And then, but it also has like some melancholic parts where it's like, where you look into yourself and like you think like, man, should I really do it? But then you come to a conclusion, yeah, man, that's what I want, so I'll go for it.
Yeah, it's like you have to do it. I think it's like nobody around you is kind of believing in you, and you're kind of not really sure if you even believe in yourself, but you also just feel so determined and you just refuse to give up on your dreams, even though you're just like so hopeless and down on everything. It's like, I can't give up. I can't give up. I have to keep going.
Determined is a very nice word. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What is your guys' favorite line from this song?
I'd have to go with, and if I make it through today, will tomorrow be the same? Or am I just running in place? Because this is like, especially right now where we're like all locked in our rooms, just like living day by day. This is just so true to me, especially at the moment, but also like back then when I was a kid. But right now, this hits hard.
Yeah.
I can only agree with that. Yeah.
I think my favorite line, honestly, like the opening line of this song, "Hard days made me, hard nights shaped me." Because I feel like it's just acknowledging that, like, yeah, when you go through like really tough stuff, that's going to leave a mark on you. But maybe it can kind of shape you to become stronger. Although it's kind of hard to see that in the moment, I think.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about kind of like the arrangement of this song, because I feel like this song, something I've always loved about this song is the contrast. So there's like these really high and low vocals, like really, really good harmonies on the choruses. And there's also these two really distinct guitar parts, these like really crunchy rhythm guitars and this crazy lead guitar that's going on.
That's actually something I always admire about Good Charlotte. The harmonies that the Madden brothers have it's crazy. It's as a kid, when I didn't understand harmonies quite that well, and I've actually never been that firm with like music theory and all that. Like,
Sure.
I never understood how they were able to do that. And till this day, I love their harmony work. It's great how they work with each other.
Yeah, I can only add to that, like the vocals are so good. The vocals are really good. But it's just like overall, the production of the song is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially they like the whole album is the production is great. But like, as you said, like the contrast is crazy how they managed to do that. But I'm still blown away by the vocal work. Yeah, the vocal work.
Yeah, and also we should mention that Benji sings the second verse.
Fair enough, true. Yeah.
I feel like that's a really good touch, and it kind of adds to, I guess, like, I don't know, I always feel like whenever Benji takes a lead on something, it just feels like, you know, that's really a personal moment when he's like, nah, I gotta sing this one.
Yeah. I like that. I like when they do that, when the harmony singer or the backup singer does a frontline part.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty cool. I love it.
Yeah. I want to read, so in terms of like backstory about this song, there wasn't a lot super directly about this song, but they did do a couple interviews that mentioned like kind of the album and the album title, like what that phrase, "The Young and the Hopeless," means. So I will read some of those. So there was just this career-spanning interview on beat.com.au, and they're saying, actually, hold on, is this Benji or Joel that's saying this? I need to check if this is Benji or Joel.
No.
Okay, this is Benji. So Benji is saying that we were all the low self-esteem kids, and when you're coming into it like that anyway, you're going to be influenced by people because you want people to like you. You want people to approve of you because you don't already have the natural confidence. And then he goes on to say how hard it is to mix art with commerce. You've got influences around you, whether it's someone at the label or someone in management or whoever it is who genuinely want your success, but they don't realize they're trying to influence your success and derail you from how you need to express yourself. If you can just find a way to continue to express yourself honestly, regardless of how your experience has changed, people are still going to feel that.
I like that.
And that's such a good message. That's such a good message.
It's a very good message. Have you felt, I mean, you know, your band is not on the same scale that Good Charlotte is, but have you all felt like any pressure in terms of mixing, being artists, like creating for the sake of expression with trying to be a business, which in a sense a band ultimately is?
Well, I think the hardest thing is right now, or like currently, is that like the attention span of, like, let's say the average consumer is very low. So you always have to release a lot and you always have to do something, and it's like it has to be fast paced, but on the same time you can't just like mindlessly throw out stuff at all. And at least for us, it's like it has to come from the bottom of your heart, because you will realize if something's not. So you have to like find this balance of doing something fast, but also like still be or do you.
Right. It's like you have to keep people's attention, but not overwhelm them.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, find that balance, I guess. Yeah, that's gotta be tough. I feel like there's something to be said for doing art just to do it, but if you want to be a band that's also successful and make your dreams come true, you have to think about the business stuff too.
Definitely
have to.
Do any of you have like a background in like business or management like that, or has it all been just like figuring it out?
It is more or less figuring it out.
Sure.
I had some learning by doing. I did with my old band. I did 2 European tours, so kind of, and it was all DIY. So how to get that working. I had that experience, and I organized shows here in Switzerland, and I did. I went on tour with a Swedish band as stand-in guitarist and kind of like also tour manager, since like in Germany and Switzerland and Austria, it's easier to communicate if you know the language. And I did driving for a US pop punk band, Hang Tight.
Oh yeah, I heard them.
Yeah, I drove them around and did like the co-tour managing of that whole tour, and also ended up playing 2 shows for them actually, since the guitarist wasn't allowed into the UK.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he needed a visa. He didn't know that he needed a visa since he didn't have a US passport. So I ended up learning the songs in like a day to stand in for them in the next day in the UK. It was quite interesting.
How did he get to Europe if he didn't have a US passport?
He had like, I think, a Colombian passport, if I'm not wrong.
Okay.
And he was in the works to get a US passport.
Okay, so he had a passport,
Yeah, he had a passport to travel, but not. And with a U.S. passport, you didn't need a visa or that kind of visa that he needed with a Colombian passport to get into the UK.
Right.
So that was quite a stress to then get him back on a flight to the US, and for me to learn the songs and all of that. So I had some learning by doing. I have some experience, but not quite everything that you need. And like management, business, especially business side, is we're all very unexperienced, and we're learning that. And
I mean, if
getting
you
there.
even look at, you know, the Madden twins, I don't think either of them went to business school. And then
No.
now they have a management company. So,
Yeah, they do.
one other interview I'll read. This is from Alternative Press. So it was with the twins, but they don't really say in this which twin is saying this. But they say that the Young and the Hopeless felt like the generation we were in. If you remember, it was Y2K. We were the last of the golden years. We were the last wave of bands recording to tape before the music industry started falling apart and everyone ran for their lives. It was a really interesting time to be a band and not collapse. We definitely limped off the field. Surviving was a lot of work, but we came back and we're starting to run again. I never really thought about that this was like such a turning point for the industry, you know? Things were definitely changing.
Yeah, definitely. I can understand that. Before you needed, I have to say, before you needed much more talent to record, to even get to recording than you do now. Now everyone can record and it sounds great. If you want to make it sound great, you can. So,
but then it means
I understand that.
Then it means there's more competition now.
Much more, and that's why this whole business part is so much more important now than it was back then. Back then, it was more about the talent and the music, and obviously also how you can market yourself. But nowadays, since everyone can be talented if you know how, it is more how you market yourself, and you can see that so much. There's so many talented people out there. There's so many talented bands, but either they don't know how to market themselves, or they don't get to the right people, or it's more important to make the music than the business for them. And it works out for them as well. And if that is how they want to, but you can see that not everyone that deserves it makes it big. And also the other way around, in my personal opinion, I think not everyone that makes it big deserves it.
Yeah. It's I feel like with more competition, I mean, there's always been a lot of people that kind of, you know, maybe they knew the right people or they're related to the right people or whatever. I almost, and this is my experience. So like I work in the music industry full time. I do music video promotion as my day job. And it's funny because sometimes it's like you'll see artists come in that are new artists and you're like, okay, this is a great video, talented artist. I don't think it's going to do anything. And then this video gets like 3 months of airplay on MTV. You're like, you know, so there it's hard to predict sometimes. And then sometimes you have stuff that's like, oh, this is like a legacy artist, and then nobody is even really interested in that. I feel like it's harder to predict what's going to be successful. Would you guys say that resonates with you?
Definitely. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you have like so many opportunities for something to like go viral nowadays that like you cannot predict. I mean, you can try to get something to blow up, but even then it's not a given.
Is TikTok popular in Switzerland?
Yeah.
Because a lot of stuff will go viral on TikTok that's like some random song, like, or it could be an art, like a super old song by some artist, you know, or some just brand new artist, and they get this massive song that like blows up on TikTok, gets like 1 billion views on TikTok, and then goes to like #1 on radio. And it's like, how?
TikTok is actually massively influential right now. I've discovered, I think, 2 songs in the last few months that I really liked. Not even on TikTok. I just discovered them through a video or whatever. And then I showed it to my friends. Hey guys, look at this song. They're like, oh yeah, that's that TikTok song. I was like, wait, what? No, it's called Deathbed. It's not that TikTok song. What?
Yeah. On a slightly different note, I mean, we've been talking about like the music business and how frustrating and hopeless that can feel. Something I also wanted to touch on with this song, and I didn't even really put this in my notes because I didn't even really think of it till now, was like mental health. Do you think, I mean, what do you think about like the mental health kind of aspect of this? Because I feel like, I don't know, like as a listener, I feel like there's definitely just an emotional aspect, like your own inner turmoil that can kind of make, even if a problem is like easily solvable, if you're just going through a lot mentally, you feel hopeless, right?
Definitely, yeah. But you can see that there's the whole mental illness and mental health is a very popular theme right now.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, everyone has anxiety, everyone has a depression, and I think it gets, at the same time, it gets more talked about, which is good, but it also gets desensitized in the same way, where the ones that are actually suffering from serious illness are not getting the attention that they need, because the person next to them that's actually just a little sad also says they're depressed, and people don't really see the difference. They don't see the how important it is, how serious it is.
Right. I mean, and it's like we should take like anyone who's sad, like that should be taken seriously, right? But like,
of course, yeah.
Being sad versus depressed versus, you know, diagnosed with, you know, OCD or generalized anxiety disorder or panic disorder, like that's different things. They need different help, right? Like there's different solutions to those.
Yeah, which makes it all even harder, because not only is there different help and different solutions for each illness, it's also different help and different solutions for each person that suffers from these illnesses. So it's being talked about, but in my opinion, a little bit too generalized. It's being as mental health issue and not as the separate issue that it's actually.
Like there needs to be more kind of nuance.
Yeah, more nuance, more education, definitely also.
Yeah.
Which I'm not perfect at that either. I'm not completely educated at that. I'm just very careful of how to talk about it, and I'm not making up my mind as long as I don't see a doctor's certificate of the diagnosis. So but yeah, just educate yourself.
Yeah. I mean, it's, and not to go like too far down this rabbit hole, but like my degree is in psychology. Just, you know, bachelor's degree, undergraduate, but so I'm not like a clinician or anything, but yeah, I still am like constantly educating and like reevaluating myself, because I mean, number one, turns out a lot of the stuff I learned in university is wrong. And you know, a lot of like famous studies are debunked. And number two, it's like learning about something on paper, whether that's in a course or it's, you know, reading an article online or watching a TikTok, learning about something versus actually seeing it is very different.
Yeah, extremely.
Definitely.
Absolutely. And it's also like things change, as you said. Like what you learned a couple of years ago is now not true anymore. So you also have to like always be open for change and like educate yourself further on a certain topic.
Absolutely. No, that's a good point. Things change, and our understanding of them changes for sure. And our understanding of what Benji and Joel wrote about, you know, almost 20 years ago definitely has changed since the time it was written.
Definitely.
Do you have any stories or memories that you want to share about this song, The Young and the Hopeless?
I don't have any particular. I think it's more when I listen to that song. I did have a rough. Wouldn't say like I had the worst time of everyone in the world in high school or in primary school, but I had a rough time, and that song for me as a young boy that felt young and hopeless and felt like the outsider. That it was one of the songs that really did speak to me, that made me feel like I can do it. I can do what I want to. I had the dream of making music since I started playing guitar, and I was like 5 or 6 years old. So those kind of songs really pushed me into that direction and helped me in that moment to really believe that I can actually make it. So not one particular, but the whole youth.
I love that.
I'd have to blow into the same horn. Just like helping one get through, let's say, rougher time in school is absolutely the thing.
Yeah. No, and I can definitely relate to that too. And I think something I appreciated, and like I definitely wouldn't have had the words to say this when I was like 12 years old, but the fact that this song made me feel like understood, like feeling like an outsider and kind of hopeless, whatever, but it didn't like minimize my problems. Like they didn't do the, oh, someone else has it worse or whatever. They're just like, no, like you feel young, you feel hopeless. We get it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I like to talk about like how a song relates to other songs in Good Charlotte's discography. I mean, we mentioned The Outfield, which, you know, calls back to We Were the Young and Hopeless, We Were the Broken Youth. But just on kind of a general level, I felt that like, you know, this song has like a frustration with the music industry, like already talking about the critics who don't get them. That obviously that whole theme comes back a lot on Good Morning Revival. And then the theme of like just feeling kind of defeated and hopeless comes back a lot on Generation RX, I think. I feel like this was a really good predictor in a lot of ways of what they kind of went on to do and talk about.
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's talk about the music video for this song. The music video is great. It was directed by Sam Erickson, filmed on a soundstage in Indiana. And basically the band, they're playing in a small room. It's like an office, I guess, filled with trophies, ribbons, medals, certificates, just all these different awards. And they're kind of destroying it. Like they're rocking so hard that like the walls are shaking and the plaques fall off the walls and everything. Very symbolic, I think. What are your thoughts on the video?
Okay. Yeah, I think it's the symbolic one is symbolic is a very good word, and I think it must have been a lot of to record that. And I really like it. It also like obviously you can tell that the song has aged.
Yeah. But
honestly, it still holds up, and it's still like I'd film something like that too.
Right. It feels like kind of like being in your bedroom and just wanting to like destroy and tear up your teenage bedroom, but like a step more, you know, like a step more intense with like having all that stuff on the walls.
It's like yeah, it's a good thing. Like when you're like a teenager and you're like in your room and like you've had enough, and then you just like go crazy.
Yeah. What about you, Max?
Yeah, I can feel it. Gotta say like that, I can feel it. I see it. it is the energy that the song brings. It's how I don't know how I would have done it differently, to be honest.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's a nice video because it's like a pretty straightforward concept, but it really just portrays the emotion that is in the song.
Yeah.
In terms of alternate versions, there are a couple alternate versions of this song to mention. So there was an acoustic version of the Young and the Hopeless included on the Anthem CD single. And I don't know if the one that I found was the same one that's on the single, but did you have any thoughts on that acoustic?
I love acoustic versions. So there's no general thought. I don't have any specific thing to say. It's also a great track. They did a good job. God, I can't get my phone to stand up right here. There you go. They're great musicians, so I didn't expect anything less, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a big fan of acoustic versions of tracks, and they definitely didn't disappoint. And my phone fell down again. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's always cool to see like a band take on a song that they released and like let's say put on an acoustic remix of it. It's always great to see, and I think they did a really good job with this one. And obviously acoustic tracks lose some of the energy, but like they still portray the same vibe.
Yeah. I feel like the harmonies, like the vocal harmonies, just like really stand out on the acoustic here. Another alternate version that we'll mention is that this was remixed on Greatest Remixes by Mr. Han. And I was trying to look up who that is. That is Joe Han, the DJ of Linkin Park.
Yeah, it is.
Crazy.
He does amazing remixes. I didn't even know that he did that.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I've talked, so this week I'm going to be releasing an episode on All Black, and my guest for that is Avius, who's a Canadian producer, DJ, as well as recording engineer. He owns a studio. And we talked a little bit about Greatest Remixes, and like I kind of wrote that off at the time. I was like, what is this? But man, in retrospect, like they had some crazy people on there.
I have to look that up. I love it. Mr. Han is incredible. Already like has that one track, Cure for the Itch, on the Hybrid Theory album, which is already a great remix of I don't know what it's just a song by Han, and it's crazy. He does really good work.
Oh my god, yeah. Let's read some reviews that talk about this song, this record. There were some interesting ones. Pop Matters, and we've talked about Pop Matters before. They say at one point, Good Charlotte sings, "No one in this industry understands the life I lead. These critics and these trust fund kids try to tell me what punk is. This is only their second album and they're already touchy about the bad reviews they get. Maybe if the band dropped all the pretense of their supposed punk aesthetic, from the spiky hair to the piercings, and actually wrote and produced albums that contain good, honest DIY substance and not this corporate rock soda pop garbage, then perhaps they could find something a bit more pertinent to complain about."
Ouch.
Boom. And then they proceeded to sing that song for another 20 plus years.
Right. NME NME said the title track is an earnest reevaluation of the very term punk. I like that word, earnest, that very earnest. They look like stinking snakes of the Dorkoid gutter, but Good Charlotte are actually Jimmy Eat World with something interesting to say. That sound is newfound glory becoming extinct.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. I
always loved their punky, their dirty look that they had back in the early days.
Yeah.
It's great.
And I never heard that Jimmy Eat World with something to say. But I like that. And I feel like that's controversial because I love Jimmy Eat World. I interviewed Jim Adkins a few years ago. Great guy. I've seen them live. They're incredible. They always put out great records. I feel like I have to share that quote on Twitter and just see what people think, because people will get defensive about Jimmy Eat World.
Definitely, you have to.
100%.
I want to see how that comes out.
See the reaction, right?
Make sure to tag me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I also found this review on discover.hubpages.com, which I think was just someone's kind of like a personal blog. It kind of felt like. The author's name is Ara Bahanian. I hope I'm saying that right. And they said that their interpretation of the title is that the title of the album might also be inspired by the fact that young people at that time felt like they were powerless to change things. They felt like they were trapped in the status quo of how things were going. Good. I like that. And then they went on to say the album is more than just good rock tunes that are catchy to the ear, but also you can tell how united this band is to put out quality material. The harmonic dual vocal song, The Young and the Hopeless, lyrically is about a generation of young people that feel as if they are totally lost and they have no idea where they are headed. The chorus is one of the best parts of the song and is so easy to sing along with.
Definitely. Yeah. Very catchy.
It's so good.
Sputnik Music gave the album 3.5 out of 5 and said the title track works this time, is faster, and should give you some kind of stupid reason to like this album. Okay. A user on Rate Your Music said The Young and the Hopeless comes off like a bad joke.
Okay.
Mosh Pits and Movies named it their album of the week, November 17th, 2016. And they said a driving riff starts the song before it kicks into overdrive about having to deal with people who hate on you constantly because you may not sing the mold. 5 out of 5. IGN, which is funny because IGN had given some other Good Charlotte reviews that were great contrast to this. They said, the album's title track is a great song, one that I would recommend to anyone reading this as a great song that exemplifies what Good Charlotte is all about. Massive thumbs up to bassist Paul for the great low-end work he rips off during the verses.
But it's actually a good point. It's that exemplifies what Good Charlotte is all about. This is a very good one.
Yeah.
I feel like that's true.
Yeah. They really had a good title track for this record. People remember it for sure.
Definitely.
Let's read some YouTube comments. So Tyler Drayton says, feels like I'm 15 again. Katie in the real world says, how do you know you're growing up? You listen to this and realize just how whiny you sounded. Ha, still love it. Amanda Schrutzman said they made something from nothing. They did. They really did. They are one of many pieces of proof you can accomplish anything, no matter where you're from or your background.
That's true.
We'll read some comments from songmeanings.com. Kate B said, amazing. Some of the songs on the new CD are going to be great. Born on August 10th said, I think this is supposed to tell that people that are rich and famous deal with fame and they need to do something other than kill off their wives and husbands. Okay.
Wow.
That took a dark twist.
Yeah, right? Through Being Me, I guess that's got to be a Saves the Day reference, Through Being Cool, right? They said, I love this CD. Yes, I'm a bad child, and I downloaded it already, but only because I love Good Charlotte. XX, angry at my father, XX. Wow, okay. That's quite a username. That is quite a username. But this person says,
angry at their father.
yeah, I think this song, like all of Good Charlotte's others, is fantastic. They always send a positive message, even through depressing type words. I love them because I can relate 100% to having a father walk out with no explanation. And then My Own Prison 333 said, this song is awesome. It clears up that whole punk rock spelled R-A-W-K confusion with Good Charlotte. Anyone who can write lyrics about nonconformity, the anthem, etc., is punk rock. This band rules, and I don't know what happened to some of these punk rockers, but I've always known that the definition of punk is being different than the rest. Rock on, Good Charlotte.
That's true.
Yeah.
And Rock on, My Own Prison. Yes, that's very true.
That's
Being
also a good
different than the
username,
rest
My
is-
Own Prison.
Yeah.
How has this song, The Young and the Hopeless, held up for you over time?
Honestly, it aged really well.
Definitely, yeah. It hasn't lost any meaning. It hasn't lost any importance. Not only to me, I think in general, to the to anyone that can identify with that song.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, like, we heard that song a couple of years ago when we were younger. Now we're older, but it's still like, it not only gives you like this throwback vibe, but it also like right now it's just still a good song.
Yeah.
It really is.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
What has Good Charlotte meant to you over the years, and how has that changed?
They meant a lot to me when I found out about them. I was must have been like 10, 11 years old. I listened to them a lot. Like I said, especially The River was a song that I listened to and played in my bedroom over and over again. I actually had like a small band at that point, and I even played that with them. And it was Good Charlotte's been on and off for me. I never not listen to them, but just sometimes more, sometimes less. And I will always listen. I wouldn't click it away. Say it like that. I like him. I always like him.
Yeah, I agree with this. Like, back then as a kid, you looked up to them and you were like, man, the message is great. They make the music that I love. I want to be them. And now I'd still say the message is great. The music they make is great. And I say we still want to be them. So
Definitely, yeah.
They really mean a lot to us.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and they're great. Like they kept up the work. And even if they were not making even when they didn't release as much music as they used to, they still did stuff behind the scenes with their, right now, for example, with the management company that they have. They're still working. They're still doing. I like
exactly. Well, as we wrap up, do you have any last words, either about the Young and the Hopeless or Good Charlotte, or just anything you want to share about what Give Me a Reason is up to, what you're working on?
We're working on a lot. We're working on a new EP. We're like I said, we're about to shoot next music video, which is actually a song that comes back to the Young and the Hopeless theme.
Awesome.
So yeah, keep an eye open. We're working, and we're coming over to the US as soon as we can. We're working on that, definitely. It's been a dream of mine, definitely, and of course of all of us, to play the US. And I hope that we'll have some of your listeners coming out to see us as soon as we make it. And if there's some of the listeners in Europe or anywhere in the world, then yeah, keep an eye out. We're on our way. We're working, and we're not slowing down.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much. As we wrap up, so I have a Generation GC and Friends Spotify playlist. So I will be adding The Young and the Hopeless. I'll put that remix on there. Honestly, I'll probably have to put a couple of your songs on there because I want to do sad and also funny. And I would just love to hear as well just a recommendation from both of you. So just anything you've been listening to lately that's not Good Charlotte or your own band that you enjoy.
All right. I think I'll have to I honestly haven't checked it out, the playlist. I will have to do this after this. And I think I'm changing up the genre quite a bit, but lately I just love Somewhere in Ann Arbor by Anson Zebra. It's a great song.
I definitely have to say, go check out go check out Point North if you haven't. Definitely, they helped us a lot, the guys in Point North, with everything. They're doing amazing music, and yeah, if you haven't listened to Point North, then you're definitely missing out. And actually, I have a very off-genre recommendation. I've been listening to some XXX Tentacion. I hope I'm saying that right. And I used to think that's just some mumble rap crap, to be honest. But I've listened to some of his stuff, and I'll listen to his lyrics and of the meaning, and that stuff goes pretty deep. And that dude worked hard and worked very well and did some very crazy and good stuff. I didn't even know he had a song with Blink-182. He has a song with Blink-182.
I don't think I knew that either. Wow.
So yeah, for everyone that is interested in some meaning and some heart, I can definitely recommend to inform yourself, learn a bit about that.
Amazing.
And yet, Point North, for God's sake, check out Point North.
Oh, and I have to ask, because you're wearing an Architect's sweatshirt, what's your favorite song from the album?
From the new album?
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's Animals. But for me, it's the new album is great. But I have my favorite Architect song, and I think my favorite song overall is still Broken Cross. So I'm not disappointed about the new album, but I like the heavier stuff a little more. And
Fair.
I think it's great that they experience some new music, but I'll always have my heart with the heavy stuff.
Yeah.
God only knows what we were born to burn.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on Generation GC. Where can listeners keep up with you on the internet?
Everywhere. We're everywhere. We are on Facebook, Give Me a Reason. We are on Instagram and Twitter with Give Me a Reason CH. That's for Switzerland. And we're on Spotify, we're on iTunes, Apple Music, Deezer, Tidal. Whatever you're listening to, we're there. So find us and stream it, jam it, show your friends, show your parents, show your kids. I don't care. Show stranger on the street. Everyone.
And make sure to tag us so we see you.
Of course. Oh yeah,
That's my-
of course, always.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Sorry,
always
Molly.
tag the guests. Yeah, no, Max and Julie, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Listeners, thank you for tuning in. Last week we talked about Walk By from Good Charlotte. Next week, we'll be talking about a song from the Chronicles of Life and Death. My name is Molly Hudelson once again, and as always, I've been your host, as well as the producer, creator, and editor of this show. You can follow Generation GC at Generation GC Pod, POD, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And you can follow me, Molly, at M Hudelson, MHUDELSON, on Twitter and Instagram. Please make sure to subscribe to the show, rate, review, and tell your friends. And if you're on Facebook, join the Generation GC Fam Facebook group. Thanks for tuning in.